And by the way, in the Waxman-Markey bill, just for the record, we actually included $60 to $100 billion for carbon capture and sequestration technology for the coal industry. But of course, Peabody Coal is leading the opposition to that bill. Peabody Coal. So it's not like we're not trying to help the coal industry. We are. But Peabody Coal doesn't want, any part of a comprehensive bill to deal with the issue. And so as a result, we're not going to stop helping the industries that want to move forward, but we're not going to allow them at the same time, the Peabody Coals of the world, to say, don't make any progress at all on any front. We can't block. Because we can't make progress on all fronts doesn't mean that we can't make progress on any front. So let me come back to you, Mr. Ashley. Could you give us a little update on the solar industry? How many new megawatts were installed in the United States in 2009?
Mr. Chairman, I've seen several figures, one between 450 and 480 megawatts.
Do you know how many were installed in the United States in 2008?
Much less than that. I believe less than 300 megawatts.
Okay, so nearly a doubling
Yeah.
of solar
Substantial increase.
installation in the United States. So almost, as you're saying, it's like half of a nuclear power plant was installed in solar in the United States in 2009.
Yes, sir. In our industry association, the latest numbers look like probably around 10,000 direct, indirect, and induced jobs in solar in 2009, thanks to the 1603 provisions, and 60%.
Now, when you say 1603, no one knows what you're talking about. They're trying to think of something famous that happened in history in 1603, and they don't remember getting the right answer in the 6th grade. So people have no idea what you're talking about. What is 1603? What would be a good? Give us another title for 1603 that people would understand. If you explain to your mother why this was such a, how would you explain it to her?
It's taking a tax credit, which is a very good idea, and making it better because the.
Well, what would you call the program? Don't use the word tax credit.
Solar incentive.
The solar incentive program, yeah. And so with a solar incentive program, we were able to double the amount of solar in 1 year produced here in the United States, creating upwards of 10,000 jobs.
Yes, sir, that's correct. And
wow.
I think going forward, it will also be important to develop the domestic industry, because even some of my competitors that are foreign will come here and build plants if the industry is big enough. Now, I don't like that, but it's good, healthy competition.
Wow.
Because I tell you, Malaysia and China will give me a lot of money and a lot of grants to come build a plant here,
and
rather
so
than Saginaw, Michigan.
And so what % of solar new jobs were created here in the United States as part of the Obama stimulus plan? Do you know?
I believe the job numbers that I just mentioned.
Okay, so a very high percentage of all the new jobs
yes.
that were created in the solar area were here in the United States.
Yes, and to be fair, going back to the initial stimulus bill in December of 2008, when the tax credit was extended for 3 years or several years, et cetera, from that point forward, and then when the Obama administration came in, it really gave the industry a shot in the arm and the confidence to expand.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that there's a massive reindustrialization of the United States going on, that we've moved under the Bush era to with only 25% of wind jobs here in the United States, and we import 75%, to now it's over 50% of the wind jobs are here in the United States, and the percentage keeps going up as almost each month goes by. I think the ultimate goal is that 70% of all of the wind jobs will be here in the United States by the time the Obama stimulus package is completed. And that's a big good news story, because people are wondering, where are the jobs for the next generation going to come from? What is the next new industry in our country? So what we're hearing from Mr. Ashley and Mr. Gaynor and Ms. Wright are huge good news stories in terms of jobs here for Americans. And Mr. Johnson seems to support using tax credits to accomplish these goals. He hasn't voiced any opposition to tax credits creating these incentives. So here we have a huge area of agreement and an agreement. Do you agree, Mr. Johnson, that at least in these areas that the tax breaks are working and we're creating these jobs that are helping to put people back to work in our own country?
Yeah, tax credits generally tend to do that, yes, Mr. Chairman.
That's great. And so from the perspective of the billions of dollars that are going to be spent in wind and solar and batteries and other programs, that's good. You agree with that?
Tax credits that
Tax cuts
that
are good.
stimulate the
That's good.
economy and create jobs are good.
That's great. So that's a big success story for us, and we do understand that you don't like spending federal dollars on unemployment insurance for unemployed Americans. But what we're trying to do, as you probably can appreciate, is we don't like paying unemployment benefits either. We actually hate the idea of unemployment benefits if people can have a job. So we're trying to create the jobs over here that could then make it unnecessary for people to have to go in and to actually apply for unemployment benefits. The evidence that we actually have that people don't like to collect unemployment benefits is that when unemployment went down to 4% in our country, all the people who are now unemployed actually took jobs and worked in them. Okay? But when jobs are not available, unfortunately, and much to their own personal chagrin, they are first forced to go and to accept unemployment benefits. But we have evidence that every single ethnic group in the United States, whites, blacks, Asians, Hispanics, and male and female, all take jobs when they're available to them. But unfortunately, because of a recession induced by reckless mismanagement of the financial marketplace during the Bush administration, almost turning a blind eye to an oncoming economic disaster, we have seen a tremendously high rate of unemployment. So that's the conundrum that we face, because the reason we don't want to pay unemployment benefits is that we hate to see people unemployed. But we recognize the moral necessity of helping people in those times of desperation. But these kinds of programs are working and working very successfully.